What's good, gamers? It's your boy Stevie. The new selection pack just got announced on Master Duel, and I am here to give you guys the quick and dirty breakdown of everything relevant within those packs. So let's just jump straight into it. For everything that's confirmed, let's start off with the new archetypes. We have Despian. It is basically just Invoke 2, where you have a Luber as a very powerful normal summon, and it has some cute cards it can go into, such as Quaeritis, but it is very much a deck that has only really seen competitive success thanks to other engines and power cards, such as the Brave package and the, insane structure deck that was released in the OCG. And in terms of power cards, it is very much reliant on Super Polymerization, which is unfortunately at 2 in Master Duel. It really needs these cards and additional support for it to really take off and become a tier 1 meta threat, but we are definitely holding out. Suships are a goofy ass Xyz deck. They have some really funny rank up strategies that are based around their main deck vanilla monsters and being able to generate advantage as well as disrupt opponents' plays, but unfortunately they are just way too slow to ever see any real competitive play. Magikey is really interesting, and it is an archetype based around the summoning of extra deck and ritual monsters who have various utility based around different attributes as well as their main deck vanilla monster. Unfortunately, the most competitive success this deck ever really saw in the TCG was being used as a worse shell for Auroradon combos, as well as it being a instant fusion target, with its Magikey beast being that it functioned well in Tri-Brigade and it was a tuner, so we could all stop pretending that Sea Monster of Theseus was like a real card. Overall, it's a much more promising archetype compared to Suship, but it still really does come up short. Some new URs have also been dropped, and we're just going to go in order, such as with the Iris Sword Soul. It is a cute going second card as well as a hand trap, but it is unfortunately way too situational in regards to its applied effects. It really reminds me of a much worse Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, a card that only really ever saw niche play in decks where its body had inherent synergy, such as in Dragon Link, or in very slow mid-range / control formats such as Toss. I don't think with Drytron flying around, we're in a control format. Starving Venemy Dragon is terrible. It is a cute super poly target in Pendulum Magicians, and it is just a considerably worse Starving Venom Dragon whose additional stat modification and burn do not make up for the loss. Ultimately, in the TCG, it was probably printed in order to facilitate the loss of the Starving King Fusion Dragon copycat card that is super duper broken, but unfortunately we already have that in Master Duel, so I don't think this card is ever going to see much use outside of being UR dust fodder. Anti-Human Intelligence Messiah is a free special in Pendulum decks, which is pretty good for stuff such as Pendulum Magician FTK, and its Pendulum effect has a weird floodgate effect where any non-monster card sent to the graveyard is instead banished, which unfortunately is not very good. It is way too specific, and you'd be much better off playing something like Dimensional Fissure or Macrocosmos if you wanted that sort of applied effect. Shooting Majestic Star Dragon is a very powerful boss monster for Synchron / Junk Speeder decks. Unfortunately, it's just way too high investment of a monster when it comes to the overall combo path that you have to take to it, as well as the overall deck building process in regards to the garnets you have to play. You can high roll into making Majestic Star alongside your other synchro bosses, but personally I just stick with the typical Junk Speeder board due to it requiring less garnets and commitment in terms of your combo plays. Clearwing Synchro Dragon is again another great level 10 boss monster in specific types of decks, most notably Speedroid, but unfortunately is just ultimately weighed down by A, its terrible summoning requirements needing a Crystal Wing Synchro monster or whatever, as well as the fact that it is also, much like Majestic Star, a very high investment monster to go into. Unfortunately, just wouldn't even bother with this one. Baronne de FLEUR is one of the craziest boss monsters of all time to ever come out. It has removal, it can be made with generic materials, it has negation, it has cute resurrection plays alongside its recycling. It's everything you could ever ask for in a boss monster. It's splashable in almost every single deck that is either going for a Halqifibrax / Auroradon line or plays synchros as part of its strategy, from Adamancipator to DDD. It is just one of the best cards to ever come out, period. High Speedroid Clearwing Rider is Speedroid support. I don't think that's really surprising to anyone. You have to roll a dice to get the maximum benefit for its removal option, which should just be an indication of how good the card is overall. It's pretty good going second, and it's terrible to make going first. Stellar Wind WOLFRAYET was originally thought to be the cure to Virtual World's problems in the TCG as a generic Synchro 9 due to the fact that VFD was recently banned over there. It has a great spin effect once it reaches 4000 plus attack, which is very similar to Nibiru, where your opponent has to commit cards into it and ultimately get punished. It is, however, extremely telegraphed and loses to a ton of cards, from Imperm to Chalice to Droplet. Overall, it is a very promising card when you look at it in a vacuum, but it unfortunately proved to be massively ineffective and underwhelming. And that is every card that is confirmed for the upcoming selection pack. We do have some speculations for upcoming archetypes and support. Beat Trooper and Gizmek are definitely 2 of the 5 missing archetypes that have came out in Dawn of Majesty that have been sort of pseudo imported into Master Duel, but unfortunately we're just going to have to wait and see if there's going to be another selection pack, another secret pack. We're just going to have to wait for that news to come out. Additionally, for support overall, we are still waiting on some of the additional Speedroid support as well as the Baron/FLEUR generic support. Again, we're just gonna have to wait and see for when these cards come out, but overall, let me know what you guys think of these new cards. I'm especially excited for Baron de FLEUR and jamming that motherfucker in basically every single deck, and yeah, it's gonna be it for me. See ya!